Good evening, Colette Walker.
Hi, Peter. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Now, Colette, you were given 30 seconds on STV's so-called debate night after you told us your name and party. There was barely any time left to hear about your policies. So let's hear a little more. You left the SNP in 2019 to form ISP. Why?
I wasn't happy with the way that the SNP were actually going forward with quite a lot of their policies, and I didn't feel as if there was much movement with the independence movement either. So, but again, as we know, they were going forward with the self-ID GRR bills. So it just wasn't, I didn't feel as if it was a party that I could actually go ahead and support anymore.
Okay. You were formed as a list-only party, is that correct?
Yes, we were. There was a lot of talk around about 2019 anyway, leading up to the 2021 Holyrood elections, about the importance of a regional list-only party, which meant that because of our D'Hondt system here in Scotland, to actually try and get a supermajority within Holyrood. So there have been quite a lot of conversations going on, and we just decided, instead of just talking about it, we would actually just go ahead and actually do it. And here we are 3.5 years on.
Excellent. Listen, Colette, you told us you're standing as an abstention candidate. For what purpose?
Well, for us in ISP, we believe there's all Scottish elected representatives should actually be here working in Scotland directly with the constituents in the constituency. We don't feel that we need to be in a parliament in another country, and the capital of another country, when we've actually got our own parliament here in Scotland, and we should actually be here working in Scotland directly with the constituents. Also, I don't, and my members agreed that we wouldn't be given an oath to a monarch that isn't our monarch. And it's something that I've also done in the past regarding my son with the Scouts. So it's something that I traditionally I believe in, that I won't pledge allegiance to something that isn't of mine or of my country. So I want to work directly for the people of Scotland, in Scotland itself.
Right. Now, our Irish neighbours stood on abstention in 1918, and they won a landslide over the traditional Home Rule Party, who had become basically just wallflowers at Westminster. They didn't take their seats, and we know what happened after that. They established the first Dáil. In practical terms, what does abstention mean for the ISP? Is it to delegitimise Westminster rule?
Well, as I say, we don't feel that we have any place there. We have got a very little ratio of MPs that are down there, so we really don't have a say in the ratio that we've got. It's about 11-1 ratio. We're working in a parliament that's not, in our country, and we really feel that as far as going forward and actually reforming our own nation, we really need to be working here in Scotland. So the abstention is not a protest in any way. It's a rightful method of actually asserting our authority over our own nation and saying that we have the equal and overriding power as being the sovereign people of Scotland. and going back to the more traditional and legal way of being the sovereign people of Scotland and using that to our full advantage. No, I wouldn't receive a salary as an elected MP. Um, that's something that never happens. But you do get you get expenses for other things such as an office and your case worker staff, any staff that you employ to do constituency work within your office. So there is expenses that go towards that administration and possibly some travelling, but I don't receive a salary, no. As far as I'm concerned, I would be having the constituency staff here in Scotland, like a lot of elected Scottish representatives that are already in Westminster. Their constituency offices are still here in Scotland. I don't think a lot of people maybe understand that you can still represent your constituents without being part of the Westminster group and actually going into actual Westminster and taking part in any debates. A lot of the caseworkers that work with our already elected MPs here in Scotland actually do a lot of the constituency work again here in Scotland, and it's a case of that I will be able to have regular surgeries in the constituency of Rutherglen and Hamilton West on possibly a daily basis, Monday through to Friday, without having to travel hundreds of miles each week. Well, as you know, we're standing on women's rights, carers' rights, and disability rights. A lot of what is classed as minority groups are being completely neglected at the present moment, and a lot of the Equality Act again has been neglected. Females, i.e., sex in the Equality Act, and disability. It's been forgotten about, and I think we really need somebody with the likes of myself with a life experienced outlook who's came into politics to actually fight for equal rights and accessibility rights, to actually speak up for the people that are sadly being forgotten about. And again, as we know, with a lot of the bills that are coming out in Parliament or proposed to be coming out in Parliament, the word woman is being basically trying to be almost banished into a cupboard somewhere and forgotten about. So we really need to keep that fight up, and it's quite sad in 2023, after everything over the years that women have had to fight for, that we are still having to fight for equal rights and actually to be lawfully seen as a female through the Equality Act and actually addressed as a woman and a woman being a woman.
Colette, you mentioned disability rights and carers' rights. Now, that's a subject which is particularly close to your heart, I understand.
Yes, it is. Obviously, having a disability myself, and my son has multiple disabilities, it's something that actually got me into politics in the first place, because I saw firsthand, being a lone parent as well and his carer, at the constant battle and fights that you had at every turn, whether it was to do with education, respite, community services, community activities, anything at all. And again, then when he was about to leave school, the transition side of things, from going from child services into adult services, everything was just a constant battle and fight, and it was almost like it was a battle of the will. And it's a postcode lottery what council that you're actually in. Some are better than others, and also depends on if you've got a really good social worker that's going to advocate. So everything is basically a postcode lottery, and it's not consistent, but it's a constant fight. And when you're dealing with caring and a disability, it's very, very tiring, and some people just don't have the strength, the energy, the time, or they don't want to rock the boat in case a service gets taken away from them, or they just don't have the confidence to speak up. So because of all that over the years, that's how I gradually got into politics. It was a gradual thing. It wasn't something that probably I actually meant to do, but just with everything that I've done, things progressed, and here we are. But I think it's really important that more people are advocating for disabled people, and I would like to see more disabled people actually coming into elected office so that they're round the table actually when policies are being made for them, because that's really important. Somebody who hasn't got life experience can't fully understand the everyday living of that person, and putting a policy in place is so important because it could have detrimental effects if it's not the right policy with the right caveats to it that can actually help the person that it's supposed to help.
Speaking locally, Colette, what issues have you sensed any issues that are burning issues for local community?
Well, as you know, everybody's struggling at the present moment financially. There's a lot happening in Rutherglen and Hamilton West with a lot of shop closures. Not a lot of places for people to actually go with their children. Their children can't access a lot of what used to be community activity centres. So I think there's a lot more to do within the community, and that's why I think it's really important that I will be working directly with the constituents, and getting them more involved in the community, and having because again they've got the life experience of what they want to see in their own area of Rutherglen Hamilton West, which is a vast constituency. So there's lots of issues there, but again there's a lot of community councils that haven't been formed yet. I think there's about 14 that are still there to be set up. So I would really like the community councils to be set up to give people the chance of the residents getting together and actually working on their local area, because they're the ones that have got the knowledge and they're the ones that live there. So they really should have an input. And again, make sure that every school as possible can have parent councils, so again the parents are more involved in anything that's happening within their schools. So again, I really want the locals to actually be participating more, because it is their area and it's where they live, and I think they should really have more participation.
Hustings, Colette, there have been, how many hustings have there been, and have they been successful in your opinion?
We've had one, and that was last Thursday. Women Won't Wish held one in Rutherglen, and only four people turned up. Sorry, five of us, four males and one female, being me, and the rest of them didn't turn up. So, which is quite poor. Especially the main candidates didn't turn up. But it was a very good night. Lot of questions asked by very disgruntled women, and rightly so. So we've had that one. We've got one on Monday night with Cam Glen Radio. I believe 9 out of the 14 candidates have agreed to go along. So we've got that on Monday night. Seemingly there was a hustings that happened yesterday, I think. It was we didn't get invited. So that's been on social media. Why? Because every hustings really should have all candidates invited to go along to any hustings when it's an election or a by-election. So we're asking questions why the other candidates weren't invited to go along.
Many people believe the SNP are a lost cause, and members have been leaving in droves. Will ISP stand candidates at GE 2024 and eventually Holyrood 2026?
Yes, we plan to. We will put candidates forward in 2024, as many as we can, and again it will be on an abstention message, and definitely 2026. So this is the start of the election campaigns for ISP, but it will be for Westminster. It will be abstention, and it would be nice if other political parties who support independence would actually take that message on board, and actually, that would make the message about how Scotland feel now a lot stronger if we decided that we were all going to stand on abstention.
Yeah, exactly. Colette, thanks so much for taking the time. I know you're very busy during this time, but good luck on the 5th and in the coming days.
Thank you very much, Peter.
Bye now, Colette.
Bye bye.